Hello, hello. I'll give this a second as I am popping on live here. So excited to connect with you. I believe this is working. I got a weird notification right when it started, so I'm not positive. But hello, happy Monday. I am very excited to be hopping on. I wanted to start by saying thank you so much to every single beautiful soul who is a part of this community, who, whether you have found me recently or whether you have been around since way back when I started this channel, um, however long you have been in my vortex. I'm so grateful to have you here and so excited to continue deepening this connection and deepening the community, uh, deepening my presence here on this platform. So I wanted to pop on because today I believe I was at 6,999 subscribers, beautiful humans here, and I was like, oh my goodness, that's worth celebrating that we've almost hit 7,000. And it truly does mean so much to me because I started this channel just with a desire to help people and to share my own journey, my own experiences, and support, because mindset, energy work, healing was such an important part of my process in getting to where I am today. And obviously, I'm very passionate about the way it has transformed my life and just wanting to share with others. So, I wanted to pop on, and for anyone who is hopping on, please feel free if you have any questions, if there's anything that's going on in your life right now and you're looking for support. And obviously, if it's within the realm of things that I focus on, which is mindset, confidence, and empowerment, purpose, manifestation, aligning with your heart, your soul, your true calling, and showing up at your fullest in the world. If it's related to certain limiting beliefs or doubts, or you feel like you're stuck in patterns, like, please use this space. I have got my unicorn mug and a full cup of matcha. So like I'm chill. I'm here to be here for a while. If there's anyone who wants to chat, wants to ask questions, anyone who I can support, yes, then please ask away. And I'm going to, if you're catching this later on the replay, if I post this, also feel free to ask any questions because I can always reply that way or create other videos to answer those topics. I am going to finally be more consistent on this platform, and I have a ton of really exciting videos lined up and topics that are deep on my heart that I'm really looking forward to getting into, regarding more of connecting to your intuition and your unique gifts so that you can share those in the world, as well as relationships and healthy boundaries and finding your empowerment, finding your healthy communication regard what it is you desire, what it is you deserve, and attracting better people into your life. For anyone who is like me, very empath centered, that can be a big challenge, and I know that has also been a huge part of my journey. So it really means a lot to me to support other women in knowing that they deserve better and knowing that they are worthy of the healthy boundaries that they may have never been taught, or worthy of, desiring better treatment from people, even if their whole life they've been programmed and made to believe otherwise. this is where all this work comes in, and this is where we get to constantly break the patterns and break the limits of what we have been told is possible or normal or what we've been told we deserve, right? Because as you probably know from being on this channel, watching any of my videos before, so much of it is just our deeply rooted programming, and then we end up continuing to settle for things. So on that topic, because actually, until there's questions, I'll just chat, I'll just talk. On this topic, I was out for lunch with a friend the other day, and she started talking about relationships and, oh yay, question. Okay, 1 second. And then she was talking about how she realized that there definitely are blocks, and she knows that there are things that are holding her back. And we started talking about it quickly there of just like patterns from childhood, right? And I know I talk about this all the time, but because what we observe as kids, and this is going to tie into this question about money, but then I'll get more specific to answer it as well. But when we see certain things in our childhood, namely from our parents or caregivers, because they're most likely the people we spent the most time with and looked up to the most, the things that they perpetuate as normal, whether that is actions that they're taking, whether that's beliefs that they have, emotions they are or are not feeling, then we see this and we just adopt it. We believe that that's normal, and unconsciously we typically end doing those same things as well. So I want to help you realize that just because something was normalized in your childhood doesn't mean that it has to continue to be your normal. And I have some friends back home who are literally living out their parents' lives, and I'm like, ugh. And they're not happy in it, and that's the biggest thing. They're not happy with it, they're not supported, they're not thriving, and it's like, well, you can break that pattern and you can create so much more. So okay, hey Kara, Poppy here. Hi! It's so good to see you. Thank you for being here. I got a question. I have gotten quite good at manifesting literally the things I desire, but when it comes to sales and money in my business, it's just not there. Do you know how I can shift internally that I'm worthy and deserving of it? When I see my visualization, it feels off. I've been running into this for quite some time now. Ooh, this is such an amazing question. Thank you for sharing this. And I know your business, and I know how powerful you are and how talented you are at what you create. So like, you're so divinely worthy of being compensated and being supported in your business. The first question that comes to my mind when I read that is like, what would be the underlying limiting beliefs that make you feel that business is more difficult or more hard? Because manifestation itself is like a science, or a law of assumption, law of attraction, that can be applied across the board. So there's no barrier of entry, there's no level of difficulty aside from what we believe. It's truly, from a universal standpoint, an energetic standpoint, it's truly just as easy to manifest $1 million as it is to manifest a parking spot. To the human mind, that sounds wild, right? Because they seem so different. One of them seems so special. One of them seems so drastic and big. One of them seems really easy and mundane and like, oh yeah, that's simple, I could do that, right? But that is a perfect example of how the human mind works and how our programming works. So the planet itself has been conditioned to think that like millions of dollars is difficult and it's scarce and it's in lack and it only comes through hustle or hard work or whatever conditions, right? Big amounts of money have been put on this pedestal for most people, and myself included. I've struggled with this, where sometimes money or business has been the biggest challenge to manifest, whereas other things I can manifest like so easy. So firstly, looking at the barrier of difficulty. So if there are certain things you have manifested quite easily, spend some time journaling or sitting with like these things that I successfully manifested. What is it about them that made them feel like a no-brainer to me? There was no resistance, right? It just felt like, yeah, of course I can manifest that. And so you're energetically a lot more open, whereas maybe business and money and success in that avenue, you are a bit more energetically closed because of something from childhood or because of how you observed business growing up, right? Or what kind of stories you have around the things you need to do first in order to have success. So I would really spend some time looking at what it is within you that makes you think that that is more difficult. So hopefully that helps as a starting point. But then secondly, I would say, business and money are both masculine principles, so it's also very much worth looking at your relationship to masculine energy in general. Most women, we do find it easier to attract things that are less connected to masculine energy because again, there's like distorted programming on the planet and a lot of trauma, a lot of lack of safety towards men or masculine things, a lot of lack of safety towards money. Maybe there is something in you that doesn't feel safe to trust that money will be there, or to trust the structure of your business to hold you, right? This masculine grounding. So I would really feel into that as well and start, I know you've done like my queen hypnosis and the quantum healing with that. So I know you're into the visualization, the energy work. So I would also sit with, like, get in a nice, relaxed, meditative state and visualize and tune into your business and seeing, like, does it actually feel like there's this strong foundation? And does it feel like you're wrapped in this, like, safe and loving container? Because your business itself is very feminine in terms of your creativity. So there's no blockage to the feminine side flowing through. But it's about where does it feel still rocky in terms of the masculine side of things. And maybe that could be the simplest little adjustment that you need to make to allow yourself to go, oh, like, now this thing is in place. Actually, that happened for me because I was having success in my coaching business over the last few years, but I started to feel like, the desire I had to reach and impact more people was not possible with the model that I was using of one-to-one or group coaching. I was feeling really burnt out and energetically overwhelmed. So even though I was doing all this work to align with more abundance and more clients and more sales and expansion, and like I could feel it, I hadn't actually made the changes in the 3D to make a foundation that was sustainable. So I could expand energetically and even like mentally with what I believed I could hold, but I wasn't allowing myself to do that in the 3D. I wasn't honoring that. So I still didn't have a grounded space for that. Don't know if that makes sense. If you have any questions, please add to that. But when I started making changes, so I took last year of like basically pausing all coaching, all group coaching, everything, and rebuilding the entire foundation to do online courses. Because in my personal system and like energetic system, it's like this is a way I can help unlimited people. I could truly have like 100 people sign up tomorrow and it wouldn't overwhelm my system because they've got the course is ready, the course supports them, and I'm not now thinking, oh my gosh, how do I manage all these people or all these sales? So there could also be something around the fear of success. And like, what if I can't keep up? What if I can't sustain? Like, if I had success and sold a handful of paintings tomorrow, then what? And that might be as simple as you just talking yourself through of like, then it's okay. Then I put up a waiting list, or I have like a pause and I get back into my creativity. Like, there's no fear if things amplified really quickly and took off really quickly. There's no fear of holding on to money if it came in really quickly. You know, really looking at what might be underlying there, and rewriting those. Thank you so much. I already journaled a lot about the masculine, or about it, but the masculine part really hit me. Good. Okay, that's been huge for me. With so many abandonment wounds that I've had towards the masculine, because of the way my dad parented. My dad also had his own business, so I observed a lot with business, but I saw a lot of sacrifice from him. And when I created my own business, even though I was very aware, I kind of repeated a lot of his patterns, which thankfully I have just broken. But for the first little while, again, I was like unconsciously looping the same thing and doing it with what I knew, which was how I saw him do it. But the abandonment I had from him not being super present, losing my brother, the rape, and like these different experiences with men that created so much unsafety in my body that I didn't feel safe towards money. I didn't feel safe towards men in any kind of relationship. And I didn't feel fully safe or trusting to my business because it is a masculine structure. So I didn't really believe that it would hold me, and I didn't trust it, which for me personally caused me to take a lot of actions from like a fear or a desperation or like, not believing it would actually work. And when I started to work on the masculine aspects and healing those wounds and realizing like, those past experiences don't have to keep coming with me in the future, and I can create safety in my body, I can create safety in the present moment, I can create safety towards the masculine in general and start rewriting a new story of how masculine energy loves to support me. And I'm so worthy of receiving it and being held by it. And the masculine wants to keep me safe. My business wants to keep me safe. It wants to provide for me. That the structures I built are strong and sturdy and will last a lifetime, right? Really starting to create that internal safety. It helped me so much to get to a point where then I could actually relax more into the feminine and trust that the foundation in that container was going to support me sharing my gifts in the world. Makes a lot of sense. Immediately got a vision for it, so I know where to start. Thank you so much. You hit the nail on the head. Yay. Thank you so much for asking. That was such a beautiful question, and it's such a deep thing that many of us struggle with. And it's like men and women, because we've all grown up with fathers who have been, very busy or in possibly lower masculine hustles and not very present, not very with us. So, we all have experiences that make us feel maybe not fully safe with trusting the masculine. Just like we all have certain things that make us feel not safe to trust the feminine. So it's just always beautiful to look at that and see like how it's translating in different areas of our life. So keep me posted how that works for you. I feel like if you do some stuff around the masculine energetics there, you're going to notice huge shifts in your business, and I'm excited to hear about it. Okay, San, I procrastinate starting a business due to overthinking, analysis paralysis, perfectionism because of abusive childhood, whereas whipped every time for making mistakes. How can I heal that? Thank you so much for sharing, and I'm so sorry that you experienced that. Okay. So the beautiful thing is that you're aware of like where a lot of this comes from, right? And that's always step one. So I don't know if you've done any kind of different healing around childhood and around those experiences. But the first thing that comes to mind for me, which is it's something I teach, but it's also something you can do on your own. So I'll explain the process. But it would be, so there's 2 steps to it. And I want to acknowledge that it might bring up emotion, and so therefore please take whichever step feels safer to you, because I don't want you to like have to go fully back into this if it's still very emotionally charged and if it can cause a spiral. If you've already done some work towards that and it's more just that it's still lingering and affecting you, then there's a different option. I've not done any healing so far, but gone through a spiritual awakening last year. Okay, so here's what I would say to do. The starting point I would recommend, because from a subconscious standpoint, right, our brain holds on to these memories, especially memories that have trauma or pain or some kind of like emotion, some strong emotion. And so when your subconscious is kind of holding on to it, then as you're seeing right now, it creates this fear of repeating that, which is showing up as the overthinking, paralysis, perfectionism, like not wanting to make the mistake, and so you're holding back. So what I would recommend is most general step would be meditation or breath work and visualizing the opposite story. So the second level deeper would be something that I do in quantum healing hypnosis, and timeline repair is what it's called, where we would go back to the memory and we would look at it kind of from hovering above and with a deep connection to a higher power, to your higher self, so that you feel safe, so that you're not fully like triggered in the experience, and kind of rewriting it so that the emotional charge and the memories get shifted in the subconscious. Because you haven't done a ton of stuff towards it so far, that might be really triggering, which is why what I would suggest instead is let's kind of like side note the actual childhood memories that you've had, but instead envision what you would have desired. So your subconscious doesn't know the difference, or your brain doesn't know the difference between real and imagination, which is why our imagination is so powerful. So if you were to imagine that in your childhood you were deeply, deeply supported with like learning and playing and navigating and figuring it out as you go, and if you envision that, you know, your parents or caregivers were like celebrating you for trying these things and celebrating like, wow, way to go, you did it, or hey, that's a great try, like try again, you're so close, right? And it's that reparenting aspect where you have the opportunity now to reparent that past version of you and give them the love and the support that they need. So I'll give a personal example, because although it's not the exact same. It's like deeply transformed my entire life. Um, I have a lot of memories from childhood where my voice was suppressed, where um, either my mom made comments about it being like gloomy and negative and like really monotone, and or being kind of shut down for talking and being too much, or my dad just not being around, so I didn't feel like my voice was heard, right? I had all these experiences that to me did manifest and feel like trauma towards my voice. And so I spent my whole life being afraid of speaking my truth, or thinking that my voice is like gonna hurt someone, that it's horrible, and it's like, yeah, nails on a chalkboard. Like I have so many stories and insecurities around my voice. And that created a lot of patterns where even though I pushed through and started speaking and sharing on social media when I started my business, internally the dialogue was still that nobody was listening, nobody would care. I was expecting the worst case scenario. So I used the different hypnosis and energy healing and the visualization that I just shared, where I imagined a memory, like a make-believe memory, of little Kara being so excited to share something, and my parents like praising me for it and celebrating and being like, oh my gosh, Kara, this is the most beautiful thing you could say, and like, thank you for sharing, and empowering me and inviting me to use my voice even more, right? Or envisioning a memory of me singing and them being like blown away by the sound of my voice. So by doing that, when you're in a relaxed state, and your brain is in more of that theta brainwave, you're allowing yourself to program in something different. So that has deeply helped me shift where I do not identify with those old things anymore. And truly, in just doing that, like, I had one really strong experience and then I did it again for a couple days. It shifted everything, where then I was fully starting to see myself and my voice in a completely new way. So for you, envisioning and creating a new childhood memory where, okay, wait, I got sidetracked by your other, by your comment. Envisioning a new memory where even if you make mistakes, it's like not a big deal. And yeah, you're supported, you're taking action, you're so proud of yourself, and you're learning and just like programming in the positive. I'm living a new reality where I'm loved despite of wrong or right in my imagination. I love this idea. Do that until I experience a shift. Yes. So what you're going to notice is, because one thing has been your truth for your whole life, um, we naturally see that every day. So for instance, I could be out and about and I could say something and the person doesn't listen, and immediately my brain is like, oh, it's because my voice doesn't matter and nobody cares what I have to say, and immediately I shut down into that negative story, right? Because I've spent so long reaffirming it. So what you want to do is, yes, if you can visualize the alternate, and it's very powerful, I find as well, to allow your body to feel that. So really feeling safe in your body of like, what does this feel like of I make a mistake, or yeah, something doesn't go right, but I learn, or I speak kindly to myself and I just take the next action to fix it, right? Allowing yourself to start normalizing the feelings of safety as well as the visualization. And I would say, honestly, if you do that a few days in a row, you'll probably already feel a really big difference in your empowerment and realizing that like it's safe to make mistakes, it's safe to not be perfect, that the trauma isn't waiting for you for your mistake, right? You start to normalize the opposite, and then you can really reinforce it very quickly. So yeah, I would say do it a few days, um, and then you can always deepen the practice if you want, but just keep visualizing and creating the feelings of the desired effect and the desired reality. Yeah. That's a big one. Thank you so much for sharing. Um, yeah, it's so interesting. Excuse me. It's so interesting how our childhoods just play such a deep role, and that's why I'm so passionate about sharing these different tools. Um, Definitely start there, and then if it's something that you want more support with, most of my quantum healing courses are directed towards women, but I also offer certain quantum healing recordings, just individual and separate. So if it's something you wanted support with, the timeline repair, you can always reach out at a later date and let me know, and I can just send you that, and it would be a guided process where you could just listen and relax and be taken through and continue to basically reprogram in your subconscious the memories. And so, on the deepest possible level, you're now feeling safe and supported, and like you don't need to be perfect and it's all okay. And that's going to allow you to keep reinforcing showing up fully in the business you're building and how you want to show up. So, thank you so much. Yeah, we really can do anything. Like, that's what I find so beautiful, right? Because when you have the different tools and you realize that it is all just a story, there's a reason that we have it. Like, there's a very valid experience that caused you to have this story, but at the end of the day, it is just a story, and so we can actually shift that, and we can rewrite or create something more positive and create a new story. So it really is about starting to rebalance where the negative or traumatic, painful story is less strong and less at the forefront, and we're starting to build momentum in like the story we want to have. So I'll just add to it, and then if there's any other thoughts or questions, I can jump into that. But I would say also like connecting to the future version of you and seeing yourself how you want to be showing up in your business. So the power of visualization, again, the mind doesn't know the difference between real or imagine. So if you spend time each day imagining you showing up with confidence, imagining you taking action, and whether things go right or go wrong, you're like, hey, it's no big deal, I got this, right? And you're still feeling confident in yourself, and you're still continuing to show up the next day, right? Really visualizing that leadership quality in the way you want to be showing up in your business, the way you want to be showing up every single day is going to support you in basically like installing a new software so that that just becomes your normal. And it truly can take as little as one, but I would say like the consistency is very helpful. So even in 1 week of doing it straight, like a week from now, you'll be feeling so different in how you're showing up and the sense of self that you have. So definitely, like, if you can stick to one thing, honestly, this would be what I would say is like this visualization, the feeling, the kind of meditation and connecting to it. Yeah. I also feel like I'm suppressing my masculine energy because my mother was a very masculine, oppressive person. This led to me being a people pleaser, submissive, nice guy. Interesting. Okay. And that's okay. So this is beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I'm loving all of this. So this also feels very, I'm sure there's so many people in the audience, and when I share this, not sure how I would use visualization here. Definitely. There's probably so many who can relate because so many women in the older generations have been like hyper masculine, right? And so it led to a lot of shifts with like masculine, feminine dynamics and everything. So, in terms of visualizing with that, like, firstly, there's nothing wrong with being, and I know you're not saying that, but it's beautiful to be nice and kind and to care about other people and have that empathy. So it's kind of like keeping the qualities that feel good to you, but then adding on maybe the stronger masculine characteristics that you feel are lacking. Um, what I would say is like something to me would be about journaling what healthy masculine characteristics look like to you, because we all have different opinions or beliefs about what that would look like, and it would be important to make sure it resonates to you. But if there's certain things like in terms of seeing this like masculine who's like grounded and like holding his own, and he could still be kind, but like he knows who he is and he's not taking stuff from like taking shit from people or not wavering to try to fit in and then ending up dishonoring himself. My favorite like divine masculine characteristic is integrity. That's like a word that I connect with very much, and I'm always in the process of trying to strengthen that for myself, of like I can have the most beautiful loving heart and care about people and all these things, but I also want to be in integrity to my truth, and sometimes that means that other people aren't going to be happy with it. Sometimes they're not going to agree. Sometimes it's going to trigger them. Um, but in order for me to live in integrity to myself and my connection to source and what I believe, like it's really important for me to be able to hold that. So that took again, the visualization, the feeling, the kind of uncomfortable steps of starting to build that within myself so that I could feel like this is so important for me to honor myself. And whether it's a mother figure, whether it's a friend, another family member, a stranger, if they are pushing or taking advantage or using or anything, I don't want to stand for that and I don't want to allow it. So like what would that look like and feel like? And it is again about building up to that point. But I think if you were to lean in and maybe journal about what are a few of the characteristics that would feel best to you around this, and around like the kind of divine masculine energy that you want to be embodying each day and you want to be feeling. And then a little bit of this is also just allowing yourself to play and try things out. So it's like, okay, I'm going out to the grocery store. What would it feel like today if I like held myself a little bit more in that masculine frame? If I showed up a little bit more like strong in what I believe in, giving yourself the chance to grow into that. And again, it's all about normalizing it. So hopefully that could help as well. I deeply appreciate you being here. San, I hope that's how you say it, and sharing about this. And also, you're giving me lots to think about because, as I said, like, I have multiple quantum healing hypnosis courses, but I primarily work with women. So, most of my courses are focused on, women and speaking directly to them. But I've really been wanting to create like one course for men that would have a handful of these different things because I have worked with men privately over the years, and obviously I know there's so many ways that they can be supported as well, or people like you who maybe have gone through a spiritual awakening recently and like stuff is crazy and there's a lot to take in. So even just you sharing here is like kind of helping affirm that because I would love to create that at some point, and I just appreciate your willingness to share where you're at and like what it is you're looking for support and changes in. Okay. Um, it can act to be masculine and dominant, but I can sense there's some kind of trauma blocking my masculine energy from flowing freely. Okay. So, what comes up for me first thing is when you think about masculine energy in general, what does it make you feel? Because like, does that immediately bring up your mother and how overly masculine she was and the oppressive side, or does it bring up something else? Mm-hmm. Um, I realized that I like kind of asked a question, but then also it might take some time for you to feel into it. So I'll keep my eyes on the comments. But it would be really interesting to know if it does associate. It has to do with my father. He is submissive to my mother. I never experienced a masculine figure in childhood. Okay, thank you so much for expanding. Yeah, so you didn't get any kind of role model of the healthy masculine, right? You saw your mother like overpowering and trying to be in a masculine, which didn't work because that always is just like oppressive and overbearing. And then your dad was more submissive to be with it, to like handle how she was showing up. So I think again in terms of like visualization, it would be very much about like what you want to associate with masculine energy moving forward. So right now, this is kind of what comes up to your subconscious, as well as probably in your body, of like the strong overbearing mother, the submissive father. And so there isn't like a grounded sense of what a healthy masculine even feels like. So there could be trauma connected to that. It could be something that is in your physical body, your energetic body, your mental body. One thing that might be worth doing, and this might take some time, just again, it takes different time for everyone, but especially if like visualization or kind of connecting to this and intuition, if some of those things are newer to you. But even if you were to close your eyes and like meditate and kind of focus on the masculine energy that you want to be embodying, right? And then if you feel that there is this block or like you're struggling to connect to it, I like to do like a body scan. And so then I would visualize, my physical body, like I'm kind of looking at myself and seeing if I notice it somewhere. So you might feel it kind of like in your gut. And that could also be the solar plexus, which is our power center, right? You might feel it in the root, it might be in your chest, in your throat. You might like see or feel even like outside. It doesn't necessarily have to be on your body. But if you kind of visualize into that and see what comes up, because your subconscious holds things and remembers them in different ways. So even when I do like private sessions with clients, some people have this gift, I personally don't, where I wouldn't be able to see, oh, it's like, it's in your solar plexus, or it's in your right shoulder, and like this is what we can remove, right? But you naturally have this ability to do this for yourself by connecting to your subconscious. So things mean different things to people. So I might feel it in my stomach, right? Because of a certain experience I had in childhood. But this might have manifested to you in a different spot. And if you do that visualization and kind of feel the trauma block or feel that kind of like, limitation that's not letting you connect more to the masculine energy, and then notice where it is, then you can take a few deep breaths into that, seeing if it feels connected to memories, seeing if it feels connected to emotions. Maybe it's like sadness or pain or anger or this suppression, right? We're constantly holding this in different ways, and our everyday 3D mind isn't usually aware of it. So taking the time to do this is so powerful. And then you can take a few deep breaths and like imagine that you're allowing yourself to release it, and like I just am always like, thank you so much for showing me what needs to go. And maybe it's a memory from your dad being submissive, and so it's like something that has been kind of stored in you. But I would suggest doing that, and then again at the end, like filling that space, like exhaling things out that don't serve you, or exhaling where this block might be, and then filling it back in with love and light, and filling back up with like safety, and then with the masculine characteristics that you want to feel more of. So like seeing and feeling yourself really standing in your power, and the version of you who's not submissive or not repeating those patterns. And I could go super quantum on this, but I feel like I've already talked a lot. But even just envisioning like parallel realities and alternate universes. There is a version of you who grew up in a very different experience and observed a really healthy masculine figure and lived a healthy masculine energy your whole life. So what would that version of you feel like? And how would they be carrying themselves? And again, it's through the visualization where we can connect to that, and it's like you're timeline jumping, and you're just going like, ooh, just like for me with my voice that I shared before, right? My current self sitting here now had certain realities and experiences with my voice being suppressed. But I do personally believe in alternate realities and parallel timelines and like infinite universes. And I know there's a version of me who actually always grew up so empowered in her voice and again praised and celebrated and supported, and her trajectory, her life's path would have been very different than mine. So I can connect energetically of like, what does that look like? What does that feel like? How can I normalize that in my body? How can I continue to see my self-image as that version? And that is kind of how we shift our timeline, because we're no longer showing up the same way as before and giving our power to the same things as before. And suddenly we're like, boom, I'm over here. I grew up with confidence in my voice. I grew up being supported and praised. Like, I have no throat chakra blocks, like nothing, right? That version of me. And through visualization, through connecting in those deeper levels, then it allows me to feel really supported in sharing that. So again, for you, like, there is a version of you in a parallel reality who had the mother-father dynamic, a different balance, where your mom was in a healthy feminine and your dad was in a healthy masculine. And how would that version of you have grown up feeling really embodied, really balanced in both, really confident and empowered in like his leadership and all the things. So like, this is where so much of the quantum work is also about imagination and getting out of the logical 3D, which really blocks us and limits us, and inviting in that playfulness of like, okay, you know what? What if? What if things had been different? What if it had looked this way instead? And really creating a new reality from that place. I totally believe in parallel reality. I felt a real timeline shift shortly after my spiritual awakening. Thank you. You're so welcome. Yeah, and the timeline shifts are real. So the fact that you are open to this, the fact that you felt and experienced that, then I have no doubt as well. Like, really lean into that with all of these changes you want to make. So if it simplifies things, you know, it's just about creating a new identity with your business and with the masculine piece, right? Both the topics we've kind of talked about. So at the end of the day, the simplest thing is like, what would the timeline that I want to jump onto, how would he look? How would he feel? What would he do? What would he be saying? And how can I get into that energy each day and use visualization and meditation and get into that relaxed state to like see it, so that the shifts happen really quickly. And then you do it a few times and you're like, this is so fun and this is so cool. And you just keep doing it. And you keep creating the new timeline shifts. We'll be back here in a few weeks from now on another live and you'll be like, Kara, I'm over here doing these things and like now I'm shifting into this timeline. And yeah, it's very cool. Yay! Wow, okay. I didn't realize that it's almost been an hour. I am so grateful for your questions and these topics and thoughts and just being here with me. Yeah. As I said, thank you to everyone who has subscribed, who has come along on my journey. Felt like a private session. Yeah. That's beautiful though. I love that because it's easier for me to support people, obviously one to one, than like big groups, and everyone's got a different nuance and a different like piece, and I'm wanting to support each person and connect deeply with each one, but then it's harder to generalize. So I'm actually, yeah, I'm so grateful as well that you were on and Poppy was on, and that I could have that experience and get to support you. And seriously, keep me posted. I'm very excited for all that you're creating, all that you're shifting into, and so deeply proud of you for wanting to make these changes and like being aware and navigating the spiritual awakening, because it can be a lot and it can bring a lot up to the surface. It can be really eye-opening and challenging. So it's just beautiful that you're doing the work and wanting to keep showing up as your best self. Yeah. Okay. Well, with that said, I am going to sign off then. It is 6:30 here. Time to go get some dinner. And thank you again for being here. Thank you. From Germany. Wow, okay, it must be late there. Thank you so much extra for joining. Au revoir. Goodbye. Thank you guys. I will be back soon for another live, and yeah, really want to make these consistent. I'll keep you posted for more kind of live session Q&As, and I will see you on another video very soon. So I'm signing off and sending lots of love.